Hello, team players. As of recording this video, PaizoCon started today. And that means I've got brand new Starfinder 2e spoilers to talk about. Let's just dive right into this. I'm going to start with the adventures for the playtests. First, we've got two first-level adventure paths. Cosmic Birthday and Shards of the Glass Planet. They didn't go into too much detail on Shards of the Glass Planet, but we did get a few things for Cosmic Birthday. For starters, the Starfinder setting is changing forever. They talked about how at the beginning of this adventure path, a planet is going to blow up and it's going to hatch into something, but they didn't say what. Then they got the 5th level adventure path. It came from the Vast, which it came from the Vast and Shards of the Glass Planet. You're going to be able to play if you're at Gen Con. And all these are coming out at Gen Con. Then, 2 months later in October, they're coming out with Empires Devoured, which is a 10th level adventure. This one is going to have a big event also, and it's going to set the stage for a war between two different factions. I think they're races, but I'm not 100% sure. You're gonna have to let me know in the comments what these are and what the whole deal with this thing is. They also did mention a 15th level adventure, but I don't think they said the name of it. But this is all to playtest the system. They also mentioned that there's going to be a newborn deity that's going to play a big role in Cosmic Birthday. And there's going to be a hazard in Empires Devoured that in order to disable it, you have to either pray to your deity to stop it or literally go get loot boxes, which is hilarious. I'm very much looking forward to Empires Devoured and that hazard. Now, let's talk about what you guys really care about, the player options that they teased. Starting with the Skittermander. We didn't get a lot of information on them, but we did get some. We now know that the Skittermander gets a boost to Dexterity, Charisma, and a free boost, of course, and an ability flaw in Wisdom. And they also got the Overeager Enthusiasm ability, which pretty much says that you are so eager to help people that you actually take a penalty on things like sense motive, which I am very excited about, because not because of the ability itself, but because that tells me that the Skittermander is going to have a lot of feats that are going to help out with aid and other things like that, which is fantastic for any subscriber of this channel. This pretty much tells me that Skittermander is going to be my favorite ancestry in Starfinder 2e. But that is by far not the only player option that they teased. We also got a little bit of a teaser for the Operative class. First, the Operative is going to be a dexterity-based class, which makes sense because it is supposed to be the rogue of this system. But they decided to not make it like the Operative in Starfinder 1e because that role has been delegated to the Envoy. Now, the Operative in 2e is going to be a lot more specialized. Their subclass is called a Specialization, but they didn't go into too much detail on that. However, the big thing here is Expert in Guns. That's right. The Operative is going to have the same proficiency in guns that the Gunslinger has in firearms and crossbows, which is a pretty big deal. But damage isn't everything, and I think the Operative is going to be a lot like the Gunslinger when it comes to teamwork. I think they're meant to be a support class whose feats rely on them hitting a lot, just like the Gunslinger. Bottom line, I don't expect the Operative to be a damage class. Overall, I think all classes in Pathfinder 2e are designed for support in some way. But I think that the Operative is going to be more geared towards that than other classes in Starfinder 2e. But that's just a guess. I really have no idea. And we're still not done. We've got more to talk about, like Feats and Spells. Now, they didn't keep these pages up for very long, but I was able to write down a feat and a spell from those pages. For the feats, they wanted to come up with feats that would work for both Starfinder and Pathfinder 2e, as well as feats that are clearly meant for Starfinder 2e. The one I was able to write down is called Dive for Cover, one that is clearly meant to work for both Starfinder and Pathfinder 2e. It's a general feat that basically says you leap and fall prone, but you can immediately take cover after that. If I remember correctly, it's a reaction, which is huge for ranged attackers in both Starfinder and Pathfinder 2e. If enemies are attacking you at range, this is effectively take cover as a reaction, which is nuts. But you gotta keep in mind, this also means you're prone, which means any melee attackers will have a much easier time hitting you. It's definitely a feat worth taking if you're a ranged attacker, but you need to be careful about when you use it. Then they did give us a spell, or a page of spells, but again, they didn't keep it up for long. So, let's talk about Inject Nanobots. It's a touch spell that requires a spell attack roll, and if you hit, you deal 5d8 acid damage. And on a crit, they're confused for 1 round. Overall, it's a decent spell, but if you don't crit, it's basically just damage. I mean, it is acid damage, which could be useful depending on what you're facing, but unless you get that critical success and confused for 1 round, it's just damage. But there are 126 spells in the playtest book, so there's bound to be some that are basically just damage. Which, as I say on this channel, damage is important, but it can't be everything. If Starfinder 2e is anything like Pathfinder 2e, which uses the same rule set, so it should, then just trying to do damage is a good way to get your character killed. Flat out. I definitely do not recommend taking spells that are just damage. Now I want to talk about items. We did get a few items in this stream, like the Mobility Enhancer, the Quick Release Sheath, and the Jetpack, which is the one I'm going to talk about today, because that is the one I was able to write down what it actually did. The Jetpack gives you a fly speed of 20 feet for 1 minute. You can hover with this item. However, doing so means you're off guard as long as you are hovering. This costs 1,600 credits. I have no idea whether that's a lot or not. There's also the higher level version of this item, the Tactical Jetpack, which gives you a fly speed of 40 feet, and you're not off guard while hovering, which is a big deal. This one is 350,000 credits, which I know is a lot. And they did say that the Upgrade Plus is the scaling in this system. So, whatever scales in this system, that's how they're going to do it. And finally, they did talk about starship combat and how they're looking at it from a different angle. They know that some people want the Millennium Falcon, I control the starship idea, and other people want the we have a starship but it's controlled by somebody else idea. So, they didn't go into any more detail than that, though. Not really. Oh, and they did say that there's not going to be a special edition of the playtest book. They didn't want people to have to buy a whole bunch of different books. And that's pretty much everything I got from the streams today when it comes to Starfinder 2e. But if you guys saw something that I missed, or you just want to talk about Starfinder 2e, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. And if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like and do all that other YouTube stuff. And if you want most of my videos early, you can become a member of this channel, or you can become a member on my Patreon page. Links are in the description. If you guys missed my video on the Envoy field test, you can check it out right here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, teamwork is vital. It helps us solve problems.